Back at it again, and we've got to talk about this video clip that I came across that is absolutely hilarious, and it shows the hypocrisy, of Democrats in how they just push things without actually really verifying or looking into or doing some serious research on things. It's really funny how this always turns out when faced with scrutiny and questions. Democrat ideas and policies do not stand up. And it is funny as heck every time stuff like this happens. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And we are taking a trip to the land down under. Yeah, we taking a little trip today, ladies and gents. Taking a little trip to the land down under to Australia. Yeah, land of the crocodile hunter. Rest in peace to Steve Irwin. We still got smoke for all stingrays, by the way. I don't mess with stingrays. I know it's completely random, but Steve Irwin's from Australia, and I used to watch the Animal Planet as a kid. I used to be a big, Animal Planet avid watcher as a kid. Loved animals and lions and alligators and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, get a little sidetracked here. Let's dive in.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Not directly, no.
You don't?
But we annualise the part-time hours and those that have worked full-time but for part of the year. So that way, because at the moment, what I can tell you is women work part-time at 3 times the rate of men. So by annualising it, we are looking at a more realistic...
So you base it on annual salary?
Yeah.
What about if you did it on an hourly rate? What would be the gender hourly pay gap?
Well, we don't have that data, Senator.
You don't have that data?
No, because we ask for annualised salaries from our employers when they report their data in.
Okay, so if a woman was working fewer hours but earning the same rate per hour as a man doing the same job, would that show up as a gender pay gap?
No.
But, well, then in that case you are looking at hourly rates.
Bro, what? Oh, man. She's talking about she's looking at women that are working part-time. Like, of course, if you're working part-time, you're not going to be making as much as somebody working full-time. Like, you're acquiring more time within the business. You're acquiring more knowledge about the business. You're building better relationships within the business when you are working full-time. And you're acquiring more years and hours. Like, I'm just what's the hourly rate difference? I don't know. This is an absolute joke, man. This is a joke. I can't believe somebody actually sat here and said this type of stuff. This is mind-blowing. There's no possible way I am going to sit in front of any type of committee without basic knowledge of what I'm talking about. Or if I don't have the basic knowledge, I'm going to put it on Front Street right from the jump. Like, hey, yo, I'm not very experienced in this. I just came here to support, but, I'm going to put it on Front Street. I'm not the most knowledgeable on this topic, but I can answer some questions here and there, And even then, it's basically pointless for you to go if you don't have all of the knowledge necessary in order to answer the questions. But anyway, let's continue.
But, well, then in that case you are looking at hourly rates.
Janine Budhoft, Research and Analytics Executive Manager. So we do not collect the real hours that an employee might have worked. So what we do collect is the hours that are specified in a contract, and that is provided by organisations to us. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, if you do you annualise it on the assumption that men and women are working the same number of hours, or is it actual earnings?
It's actual earnings, and we are unable to. We don't have the data to distinguish or to then adjust for hours, because we cannot collect the real hours that employees are working.
So it's not possible to tell whether any or some of the gender pay gap is just simply attributable to a different number of hours worked. Is that right?
It depends on whether we're looking at hours that are in contract, or whether we're looking at hours that employees worked as overtime.
Why is it you don't look at hours worked? You don't collect it, but the ABS does. It's available.
Oh, we know why they don't look at hours worked. We know exactly why. Because it's going to completely destroy their entire argument. Of course, if you only work a part-time, or as women, women have the unique ability to have kids and everything. So you got childbearing time that you're off from work, so that decreases your overall time actually in your job, working, acquiring more knowledge and skills at your job and whatever, the whole nine, right? Child daycare and things when you got kids, mom might got to take off of work because the kid's sick and what, like, of course they don't want to look at hours because it's going to be different. It completely destroyed their argument. But
don't look at hours worked. You don't collect it, but the ABS does. It's available.
The ABS does a survey, yes.
Every 2 years.
Yes.
But again, as I say, we collect census data, that is survey data. And the other thing I would say at this stage, Senator, is just because somebody might be sitting at their desk for 12 hours a day doesn't mean you're getting 12 hours of productivity out of them, and doesn't mean that they're working in essence any harder than someone that may sit at their desk for 8 hours.
Oh. That was her argument. Which could be true. I have to acknowledge, yes, that definitely can be true. Somebody who's acquired more hours doesn't necessarily work more than somebody who's acquired less hours, right? But if that's your whole argument for the pay gap, you've lost from the start, son. You have lost from the start. You are so lost in the sauce. Man, I'm just going to pray for you. Her argument was that, oh, well, just because men have put in more hours, it doesn't mean. But typically, it does mean that. On average, it does mean that. More than likely, it does mean that the man has worked a lot harder than the woman. If you're putting in 12, if I'm putting in 12 and you putting in 8, I probably did a lot more than you. More than likely. Okay? Now, of course, we're working, or everything isn't 100% certain, right? So maybe the person that worked 8, if you worked 8 and I worked 12, maybe you outworked me. Maybe. But in all likelihood, that's not the case. It's not the case. Like, of course, there's going to be exceptions to the rule. So I can't say all. Duh. But if 95% of the time that's the case, then what are we talking about here? Like, this stuff, man, this stuff is absolutely crazy. And I want to play this clip from this young lady. I have no clue who she is, to be honest with you. But she hit the nail right on the head.
Gender pay gap is entirely made up. It has been illegal to pay women less than men since 1963. 1963. So if a woman is getting paid less than a man at her job and she has the same education, same qualifications, it is illegal. She can go to battle against that company. It's not happening. They use statistics basically comparing the average that all men make versus the average that all women make. And they try to say, look, there's a difference in how much women make. No, there's a difference in the kinds of jobs women choose to go into that happen to be mostly lower paying jobs than men. There's a difference in the type of work women look for. They tend to want things like remote work, and they tend to want to work less hours. They are more likely to take time away from the workforce than men. All of these things are why they make less on average than men. If you actually dig into the numbers and compare apples to apples, when women and men are in the same jobs, have the same experience, same time in the job, same qualifications, they are not paid less. And in fact, I think the averages actually show women make a couple pennies more than men in those scenarios. So all of this is made up, and I think it's utterly absurd.
Yep. Been illegal. Now, granted, that was in Australia, but still, you hear people trying to make the same argument here, and it's just absolutely insane. I just thought that clip was hilarious, and I wanted to show you guys that clip because, man, this stuff is hilarious. Goodness gracious. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah. Democrat talking points, man. Or arguments, I should say. Well, I don't, to be fair, I don't know if that Australian lady, I don't even know the political system in Australia, Democrat, Republican, whatever, you know what I mean? But she sounded like a Democrat, so that's what we can label her as. That sounded like a Democrat argument right there. Made zero sense at all. Zero. And here it's been illegal. So, yeah, that argument goes out the window. And oftentimes, just like you heard there in that first clip, people aren't even comparing apples to apples. They're comparing apples to oranges or bananas to pears. Like, it's just not the same, right? But when you line it all up, you know, a woman with the same qualifications as a man, the same amount of hours worked, the same amount of experience, they should be paid the same and will be paid the same. As a matter of fact, I believe it was Google that did I forgot what company it was. It was some company, a big company, maybe Apple or something, that looked into their pay gap at their job and found that men were being paid less than the women. So they had to raise the men's wages and give them back pay, if I remember the story correctly. So if anything, us fellas, we got an argument here. But no, we ain't complaining, right? We just put in that work, you know. But yeah, this whole argument is just absolutely insane. It's literally illegal. But as always, y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions on this in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.